Is God ever really silent? So you're praying, and you're waiting on God for answers to a particular thing. And I have heard people, I've counseled people where they say, "Oh, I'm not hearing God. God is silent." But is God really silent? All right. So make sure that you wait until you watch this all the way to the end, because I am going to explain what I mean, and I'm going to tell you how I got away from that space of that question of, is God really ever silent? Okay. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time, a warm welcome to you. A couple of weeks ago, I was on my WhatsApp status, reading through people in my contact that allow me to see their status. I was looking through that, and I came across my niece's status, and she just put the word numb. I instantly thought that there was something wrong, so of course I chat her up and I say, "What's going on?" And she says, "Oh, I'm overwhelmed. It's 2022. All the things that I've put on my list to accomplish in 2022, and I feel overwhelmed by it right now. And I'm asking God for direction, but I feel like He's silent." Actually, not. She didn't say I feel. She said God is silent. And I put on my big auntie cap and I talked her through it. Maybe you're overthinking things, you're overanalyzing things. By the way, it's just the beginning of the year. Give yourself, time to look at those things again. And now this is weeks ago now, but that word, that sentence, God is silent, it was on my mind. It's been on my mind for so long, and I started to I went down memory lane in my life. There was a time where I felt like, even though I was praying, God was silent. I wasn't hearing God. There was a time I didn't feel like I was hearing God at all. I would read the Bible and I wouldn't feel anything. So there was a disconnect in that case, right? There was a disconnect, and until I fixed that disconnect by coming back to God, reconnecting with Him. And of course, it was life's issues that caused the disconnect, right? But as soon as that was fixed, and I came back to that, I have enjoyed what I would call a robust personal relationship with the Lord. And I hear Him now. I hear Him clearly. But what I wanted to bring out is why, when we feel like God is silent, from my personal experience, and I believe that you can relate to this. In my personal experience, that silence was actually directional. Because, and I'll tell you what I mean. I say directional because in those situations, God had told me what to do. Like I had written down things. I had gotten prophecies. I'd gotten words, that, and I knew this was God, but I hadn't done anything with it. So the silence was more God saying, "Well, I directed you to do this. Did you do it? I directed you to do that. Did you do it?" Right? So sometimes it's not that God is silent. He's waiting on you to take action on what He already told you to do. In my video last week, I talked about how the enemy tried to throw a curveball at me by making me almost fret about something that God had already taken care of. And the way that I got out of that was throwing back what God had told me about that situation at Him, right? So the question that the Holy Spirit asked me in that instant was, "What did I tell you?" So I am going to say those same words to you. If you are at this point now where you feel overwhelmed and you feel like you don't know which way to turn, and you feel like God is silent, I'm going to ask you, if you have indeed prayed about that situation, what did God say? Now take what God said and act on it. Now, something else that I want to add to that, if it is truly a silence that you are feeling, and I've done this myself, I have reached out to my friends that are also ministers. I have reached out to my prayer partners. I have reached out to my big big sisters, big brothers in the Lord, and talked about it with them. And a lot of times, okay, they will pray with me. They will pray. And what I love them for is they will pray that God will give me clarity. And that's their way of saying, get what God says, right? And but in your doing that, it's still the counseling, and it's still that I feel like there's that backing, that you feel like someone's backing you and still guiding you towards God, right? Because that's at the end of the day, God is what is God saying is has to be the ultimate. That has to be the end point. You don't want to do things unless it is God inspired. You don't want to do things unless it is the Holy Spirit leading you to do it, because if you do, then we know where that goes. You spend more time, you waste time, and we don't want that. So at the end of the day, it's still, what did God say? So that's what I wanted to share. If it is truly a silence, get someone to counsel you. In the abundance of counselors, there is safety. And so let me just reframe that. Be careful who you go to for guidance, and don't go to them expecting them to tell you what to do. Their role in this situation is to again point you back to God, so that when you go back to God, maybe your prayer, the way that you're praying, maybe it changes a little, right? But from my experience, when I've done that, I've come back with a peace, right? I've spoken to them. They've given me their point of view, not necessarily this is what you must do. They've given me their point of view, and that just helps me understand. Maybe my prayer was a bit off, right? And so when I go back to God, I'm going back with more clarity. So the first one was, God's silence is directional. What have you done with what he told you before? That's what I wanted to share with you guys today. God is never really silenced. I'm looking for the word now. There is always an intention to the silence. It's either directing you to what he already said, or you need more clarity so that your prayer, you yourself even understand your prayer. Because sometimes if you don't understand what you're praying, then it may seem like is God really answering this thing? So let me share this silence thing. I just had like a personal experience just this week. I was asked to do something, and Gladys, if you know me, I don't want it. I don't want that kind of visibility, right? And so, but I reached out to one of my closest friends. We talked about it. She was asked to do the same thing. We talked about it, and we kind of were thinking along the same line. And but then I said I still did not. I was supposed to send a text to say what my decision was, and I didn't. And I said I told the Holy Spirit, I said, Holy Spirit, if you want me to do it, then I want you to confirm it, right? I don't know how you're going to do it, but confirm it, and confirm it so much more that I can't argue with it, right? And I was sitting in church, and that confirmation came from the most unlikely place. So sometimes when you feel like God is silent, even you have to be in a posture to receive the answer. You have to be in a posture to receive the answer. You're the one asking for the instructions, right? You have to be in a posture to receive the instructions. And that means that your eyes, your everything is connected to him. And you're not all over the place in your mind. Like, your mind isn't all over the place, because that's one of the ways you can't. If your mind is all over the place, you cannot receive anything. I'm sorry. All right. So that's it. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, what are you waiting for? Yeah, you. All right. Just hit the red button on the screen right there. Right there. hit it, and then every time I release new content, you'll be one of the first people to get it. All right. So thank you so much for joining me today on this talk. God is never silent. It's one of two things. It's directional. It's directing you to what he already told you. Or you may need more clarity to understand what you're asking. Talk to someone to pray with you. Talk to someone to give you some kind of clarity, right? And then you can hear. God is always, he's there. He has answers for you, but be in a posture to receive them. Okay. So also, before I forget, I also have a blog, worshipwithgladys.com, and I have a ton of content on that also. So go read up. All right. I will see you in the next video. God bless you.